radio gives you access.
You can hear it all around. People are complaining because you can hear that sound everywhere.
Out around 2:30.
When you left last night, was it doing that noise?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to him. I didn't think it was doing it earlier this morning when I left either, and it is now. And people going in and out during the night. That's gonna be going off. Well, somebody had a fun. Must have been an accident or something. I almost got hit by a car this morning. This guy was looking the opposite direction. Never paid attention to turn his head to see if anybody, was walking. Just decided to keep his head in one direction. It's like, what?
Approaching a railroad crossing.
they're doing their Starbucks here because it's got the pull in. Watch. Hello. Well, you're a stranger to me. What's up? I'm gonna go in the dollar store and see if I can find some. I started getting my. Well, I went in to see if they just possibly had any Halloween stuff, and when they had Halloween, Christmas, they had it's like, oh my gosh! It's kind of like Walmart. You turn around and there's summer. It's like, so we're already in this stuff, but
Yeah,
I laughed. I was like, oh my gosh.
she's so fake, and she keeps slamming the door. Fucking bitch. I hope she dies. I hope she fucking dies.
15, 16, something like that.
I
Yeah.
really hope she dies. Sick of this fucking bitch. I hope she fucking dies. I hope so.
877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. Those of you who have purchased or pre-ordered copies of The Democrat Party Hates America, you're very sharp people. You really are. These discussions we have every day, including today, that you see going on in Fox, other conservative shows, all involve one thing and share the same thread, the Democrat Party. And I was reading from the book to some of the TV staff earlier today. I had time to do it. They were stunned by some of the information. Spellbound. And so again, I want to encourage you, trot on over, no, better yet, speed over to Amazon.com or any major retailer with a link. But over there it's 40% off, 39, but 40% I rounded up. To get your pre-order copies, get into queue, so when the book does come out on September 19th, we'll have yours at your door, and we'll get going on this. We already have significant discussion prepared for media, on radio, working on setting up with some of our radio friends and radio networks. And they're always fantastic. Over on Fox, I'm only allowed to appear on Fox according to my contract, so we will appear on Fox. Sean Hannity and I will talk for an entire hour on his program before the book's release, days before. And also, Pete Hegseth will be interviewing me for an hour on the book a week or so later. So we have a big program set. We have book signings, a handful of them, but nonetheless, very, very important. I believe the Reagan Library has like 12 seats left in the pour-over part of their soda distribution. And about 50 books left where you get in line and you get to meet and get to talk and you sign your book. You're guaranteed I won't leave until that occurs. There's about 50 of those slots left if you're still interested. I believe there's 12, give or take, seats left in the pour-over area. The main Reagan Library has been sold out since within an hour of our announcement last week. So this gives you an indication of the desire of people not to lose their country. Now, what Alan Dershowitz wrote was very important because the management of the clock by me was quasi-professional, if not worse. I want to start at the beginning. It was very, very important because he gives the substance to the things I've been saying, which is what Donald Trump has done in this election has been treated as some mass criminal enterprise, some insurrection. But it's actually fairly common. The discussions in Georgia, the discussions in Arizona, the activities in Pennsylvania, the lawsuits and all, very common. And this is the problem with what the Democrat Party has now done and the Biden administration have now done.
I hope she does.
So let's really focus in on what he's saying. He's a Democrat lawyer. And he calls him as he sees him. More than anything else, he's a civil libertarian. Folks, if you don't take him at his word at this point, I mean, he represented Donald Trump in the first impeachment. He's a remarkably unique type of individual. You don't always have to agree with him. God knows we don't always agree. That doesn't matter. And he writes this book, Get Trump, The Threat to Civil Liberties, Due Process, and Our Constitutional Rule of Law. My God, that was prescient. I did a show, you might recall, the opening of the show a week or two ago on Fox, in which I talked about all these controversial elections, where all kinds of stuff took place. He says electoral challenges in the Daily Mail, which came out tonight. Electoral challenges have long been part of American history, and only now are they being criminalized. That's the key to what you need to understand. These are the same people who used Russia collusion and lying. These are the same people who impeached the president twice over nothing. These are the same people who pressured for an independent counsel, prosecutor, during the course of his presidency. They've been trying coup after coup to stop Trump. And now they accuse the Republicans from Trump and MAGA of doing what they did. He says, I was one of the lawyers involved in objections to the Florida presidential vote in 2000. Marginal less than 600 ballots determined that Governor George W. Bush, rather than Vice President Al Gore, won the state and thus the Electoral College vote. Notice how quiet George W. Bush is, because he hates me. Karl Rove was out there trashing Trump. And so we can say, I guess that 2000 election was illegitimate too. You would think they know better. No, but they're very personal. You know, the Jeb Bush thing and the Trump thing, every guy knows it. Dershowitz writes, I was convinced then, and I'm convinced now, that this result was wrong. No one was indicted, disbarred, disciplined, or even much criticized for those efforts. Yet here we stand today. Trump and 18 other defendants have been charged with election fraud, conspiracy, racketeering, and more, under a law designed to take down criminal organizations known as the RICO Act. Should Al Gore have been charged in 2000? What about me, he says. I represented the voters of Palm Beach County, many of whom voted by mistake for Pat Buchanan rather than Gore, because of the infamous butterfly ballots and hanging chads that prevented their votes from being accurately counted, he writes. During the course of our challenges, many tactics, similar to those employed in 2020, were attempted. Lawyers wrote legal memoranda outlining possible courses of conduct, including proposing a slate of alternative electors who would deliver our preferred election results to Congress. This is something that's always considered and sometimes done. Now Trump and his attorney Rudy Giuliani, along with others, are accused of a conspiracy to commit forgery and false statements for drafting their list of alternate electors. In 2000, Florida state officials were lobbied to secure recounts in selected counties in which we thought the tally would favor us. We were trying to find at least 600 votes that would change the result. This new indictment features Trump's phone call with Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, which was captured in audio recording. And in that conversation, Trump asked him to find 12,000 votes. In my mind, this falls among the most exculpatory pieces of evidence, said Dershowitz. Trump was entitled as a candidate to ask a Georgia state official to locate votes that he believes were not counted. And by the way, when you read or listen to the audio, he's concerned about Republican areas where the votes have not yet been counted. He's concerned about Republican areas where he hears that votes have not yet been counted. And that's what he's talking about, going to try and find the votes. In 2000, attempts were made to influence various Florida officials to recount the votes. Now the former president's request that Georgia's Republican Speaker of the House reconsider the count is being charged as soliciting a public official to violate his oath. But a similar behavior was legal in 2000. How could it be illegal in 2023? In the end, all those efforts in Florida failed when the Supreme Court in a 5-4 vote ordered the recount stopped, thereby turning the election over to President George W. Bush. Now, of course, this is his take on it, but nonetheless, it's useful. I wrote a book entitled Supreme Injustice, condemning the Supreme Court's decision and insisting the election had been stolen from Gore and improperly handed to the candidate who received fewer votes. The book was a bestseller, featured in front-page reviews in the New York Times and other major publications. Most Americans thought that those challenging the Florida vote had acted in good faith, even though the courts ruled against them. Even though the courts ruled against them. What's different today is that many observers do not believe that Trump and his advisors were sincere when they declared that they won the election. But that doesn't make what they did a crime. The Georgia indictment hinges on the allegation that Trump was lying in order to corruptly prevent the inauguration of the candidate who won the election fair and square. Conspiracy and RICO violations are specific intent crimes. In order to secure a conviction, prosecutors must prove a personalized agreement to join a criminal activity. That will be an incredibly difficult case to make, but not in front of a Democrat jury. Especially regarding Trump himself, who, to my knowledge, has never wavered from his belief that the election was stolen. My God, people keep telling him to stop talking about it. The idea that he doesn't believe it is ridiculous. He's wrong, says Dershowitz, but again, that's not to prove him guilty. The First Amendment and general criminal law principles protect the right to be wrong, especially if that right is based on an honest mistake or belief. Many point to the claim that Trump associates allegedly stole voting machine data, but that accusation is hotly contested. The jury will have to assess the credibility of each side. The fundamental truth of this indictment is that if the evidence of specific crimes were compelling, there would be no need to charge under the onerous intent requirements of RICO and conspiracy laws. The proof is not compelling because these electoral challenges have precedent. Once again, as with the preceding 3 Trump indictments, the law is being stretched to its limits in order to snare a former president. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. And we know who said that, fair enough. Is this really what we want our country to be? Is this really what our country has become? When prosecutions are rooted in the fickle ground of politics and not the solid rock of justice, everything will crumble, says Dershowitz. I want you to consider what Dershowitz said and compare that to what Chris Christie said. Compare it to what Bill Barr said. Compare it to what all these other reprobates and malcontents said. Why is Alan Dershowitz speaking out so much? Why does he write a piece like this? Why does he write an entire book on this? Why is he willing to come on my show, unlike Chris Christie? Unlike Andrew Weissman? Why? Because he's right, and he knows that I know, we all know. That's fine. He's not running for anyone. In fact, he's taking enormous abuse from his latte liberals and Martha's Vineyard and elsewhere. And he has told me that if he ever showed up to Harvard, to the law school there, to teach a course, to make a speech, he doesn't think he'd be welcome very much. In fact, I'm convinced that he's taking his own life in his own hands, as so many conservative speakers do on these campuses. He's considered a traitor. Traitor to the cause. What's the cause? I'm 100% convinced that Jack Smith is the head Svengali, that he's coordinating with these DAs, that they go over the various charges that they're going to bring, that when the one reporter had enough sense to ask Willis and her Fanny if she had talked to Smith, she immediately said she's not discussing her investigation. Well, then she basically told us that she has, and it's part of her investigation. You know, what's going on here is an effort in these two cases, obviously to convict Donald Trump of something or everything, to send a message to anybody who would dare challenge an election, to send a message to anybody who would dare represent a conservative Republican candidate, or to challenge an election, that they would face this 65 project that seeks to disbar them, and these Democrat prosecutors who seek to destroy them by indicting them. And they're trying to make a case out for insurrection, even though Trump is not charged with insurrection. To destroy his possibility to even get on a ballot, or to become president should he even be elected. I remember Eric Holder said that if he's convicted of anything, should he be elected president, he should be immediately impeached. Eric Holder is a Svengali behind this too. Jack Smith used to work for Eric Holder. Jack Smith used to work with Andrew Weissman, who's all over TV, commenting. Jack Smith used to work with James Comey. Notice you don't hear anything from him. He's laying low. All the dirty work's being done. And on the other side of the coin, we see Joe Biden enjoying life, taking more vacations than working days, going to run for re-election if he can do it. Doesn't really have to campaign, doesn't really have to tell the truth, unless there's an internal Democrat Party coup to knock him off and get somebody else in there. But why would there be? They're getting everything they want and more. They're doing it with a man who has an IQ of a kumquat. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning
to a
home.
damn store
with
just
scars of
fucking
war.
waste
Whether
time.
those scars are physical or
Buy
mental.
stuff she doesn't even
Wounded
fucking
Warrior
use.
Project.
Waste
We never
money.
leave a
She
fallen
loves to
warrior
waste money.
behind.
I don't know
Ever.
why.
Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Now, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Now is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
When you're ready to start your next painting project, visit Morris Levin & Son, your hometown hardware store since 1934. This truly is a painter's warehouse, with everything you need for any painting project, residential or commercial. With a knowledgeable staff to help you find all the supplies you'll need to get the job done. We carry quality brands like Pittsburgh, Benjamin Moore, Gemini, Old Master Stain, and Rust-Oleum, with personal service you won't find anywhere else. Don't know what color you actually need? Just bring in your sample and they will mix a color to match. That's part of the expert service you'll find at Morris Levin & Son. Looking for epoxy flooring and protective coatings? Morris Levin & Son is a direct distributor of set surface engineered technologies by Ponderosa. So, next time you need anything in hardware, electrical, plumbing, firearms, or work apparel, shop Morris Levin & Son, your hometown hardware store since 1934. 1816 South K Street in Tulare.
Whether you're planning a family vacation, a relaxing weekend getaway, or you just want to get away to the Central Coast, locally owned and operated Beachside Rentals is here to help. We have over 50 vacation rental beach homes available in Cayucos, Morro Bay, and Cambria. We have small homes for couples or large family homes. Many homes are pet-friendly. You can even book month-long stays at